Welcome to the Davenport Football Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. We'll be talking Davenport football for the next 30 minutes. I'm Rick Berkey. The head coach, Sparky McEwen, is here. Davenport will also have a special player guest. We'll tell you about Jalen Robinson, the sophomore from Detroit, will join us in the program. But the team coming off a tough 30-27 loss at Ashland, Ohio. Terrific game, great effort by the Panthers. They didn't get the win, but that does not mean that they did not have a highlight or two or three in this one. DeAndre Ford to pass in the pocket. He fires it long over the middle, and it's caught! Oh. 25, 30, 40, 50, 45, 40, 30. This is 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Euless Gillard, 99 and a half yards. Euless Gillard's first touchdown as a Panther is a record breaker. 99 yards. DeAndre Ford to Euless Gillard, and he was off to the races, and he ran away from the defense. And with that, we bring in the head coach, Sparky McEwen. We thought we'd start out on a positive note. That was unbelievable.
No, that was unbelievable. But on another note, it's going to have an asterisk always in my mind and Euless's mind, because on the play, the punt should have never been downed at the half-yard line.
It was badly, but you know what? He'll take it, and you'll take it because you got a touchdown on it.
I'm going to take it. It's for DU.
And as we said on the air, Coach, it's a record that will never be broken.
It will never be broken. How about that?
Yeah, you cannot get more than a 99-yard reception. And that wasn't the only play. We'll get to another one a little bit later on that was memorable, although Davenport did come up short, 30-27. We'll throw a few things out there from that game. First of all, another school record by DeAndre Ford, 390 yards passing and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Yeah, he had a great performance, and he was our offensive MVP for the game. And this was the type of game that we knew it was a possibility. He definitely has an arm talent that, GLIAC teams haven't seen this type of ability where you can strike from anywhere on the field. And actually, I've talked to you, Rick, about it, that with DeAndre, you have the ability to throw the deep out from the far hash, at 20 yards. You have the ability to go over the top. And what I've always said to the staff is that you have the ability to go 99. Well, I was short, 99 and a half. So to his credit, he's a young man that sticks. He stays in the pocket, sometimes a little too long. But we were able to break free in the secondary. We saw some things in coverage that we thought that we could capitalize on these 2 series previous. And we max protected it, and we got deep, and Euless did a great job. That's
2 of the last 3 games, though, where DeAndre's, getting that look. I call it the look out there, where a quarterback, the way he releases the ball, his body language says, right now I'm not sure anybody can stop me, and that's the look you want as a former quarterback yourself.
You do. You want a guy that's confident, and one of the things to his credit is that, he's a young man that has a tremendous amount of confidence in his arm talent. And some of the throws that he's made this year, you just watch him and you say, he's close to being the guy that we know that we signed, here before his injury, obviously. And before the injury, he hasn't played football in a few years. And to his credit, he never talks, at all. He's more of an example, lead by example type of guy. And, you root for people like that. He's really, really a good guy, and he does things the right way for us. And it was a big game for him. It really was.
Well, you don't see a 90-yard plus touchdown pass too often, and you will almost never see 2 in the same game, but you did with Davenport on Saturday. 1st and 10 for DU. Back to pass DeAndre Ford in the pocket. He pump fakes. He goes long over the middle, and he's got it to 45, 40, 50, 35, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Davenport. Marquion Johnson. An electrifying play again for Davenport.
Is that
92 yards and another score. So, as I said to Bill on the air, it's just, I don't think we'll ever be at a game where you'll have one team get 2 touchdown passes of over 90 yards in the same game.
Well, one of the things you can say from this point moving forward in the season, there will be other staffs that will say Davenport will throw the ball from their own 10 and max protect and go downtown. And these are the type of things that we were looking for with some of these receivers that we acquired, over the offseason. You had Marquion Johnson on one and Ulyss Giller on the other. Both these guys are bigger body receivers that can run, and you have a quarterback that can, really, throw the football. Now you see the offense begin to come into its own. We had a very, very poor outing the week before against the number 2 team in the country. And I think it had a lot to do with some of the things that we were doing, okay? Obviously, we'll always give, our opponent the credit that it's deserved, and Ferris did a great job against us. But when we went back and viewed film, our guys walked away, and they knew that we were much better than our performance that we had the week before. So to their credit, they came out and they played hard, and we had a chance to win the football game. And this probably was one of the better football games that we've played since my arrival to DU.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You don't hear coaches too often really praise their players after a loss, but you came out publicly and said you were really proud of your guys.
I talked to the coach from Ashland before,
yep.
After the game. You're talking about a guy that has a Hall of Fame career, and we're always going to do things the right way, at Davenport. And, our players, even when you lose a game, and all I ask these guys is play your hearts out. Play your hearts out for us. Become a better person, become a better athlete, in the moment. And I thought we played one heck of a football game. And there were things that happened in that game that was out of our control that, I tell our guys, we always play above those things. And I thought our kids did. I thought our kids came out, and we were a little short, on things. And if we could have had a couple of those do-overs, in which you can have, our conversation could be a little different.
Time of possession was fairly even, 28 and change for you, 31 for them. So 96 yards on the ground. Not great, not bad, kind of in the middle. How did you assess your running game?
Well, when you throw for 400, mean, obviously, you pretty much almost had a 500-yard day, on offense. But more importantly, it was versus Ashland.
Ashland.
Yeah, it was their homecoming, and they had a great crowd there. And our kids went in, and there was no noise in their mind. They didn't blink. They fought back, and they kept themselves in position to win the game. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for, And we only had 4 penalties on the night, and out of the 4, 2 of them were just critical calls. And, unfortunately, they didn't go on our way. And we walk out of there, we have a loss, and it was a loss that we could not afford in the GLIAC because Ferris obviously is playing at a whole different level of football.
Yeah, and you did it against a team that was picked to finish second in the GLIAC this year. As you mentioned, at their place on homecoming, and they're in second right now, tied with the Grand Valley. You look at the league standings, Coach. Ferris State 4-0, Grand Valley and Ashland are 3-1, Wayne State 2-1, Saginaw Valley and Davenport with a couple losses each. So there's a lot of shaking still to go on in the GLIAC.
Yeah, it is. It's a long season, and right now, I tell our guys only be concerned with the things that you can control, and that was part of the issue on Saturday. We had a great conversation as a team, and we don't scoreboard watch, we don't standing watch. We just need to focus on us because I don't know, if you notice this, but out of the almost 500 yards of offense that we put up on the board, actually everybody except for Nate returns on that offense the following year.
So, yeah, that's very encouraging for the future. Before we get you over to get some more of that good Uccello's food, I want to get a comment from you on our special player guest, Jalen Robinson, the sophomore out of Detroit, who's really been coming on. He had 10 tackles 2 weeks ago and topped that with 12 on Saturday.
This is part of the class that I'm a big believer you build champions through the high school ranks. And we've got this was part of our great recruiting class that we brought in here, and Jalen stepped in for Jeremy, which is out. He didn't play. We didn't have our secondary leader that didn't play, in that Ashland game. We didn't have our captain, that's our starting running back, that didn't play.
Michael
Catchings. We got beat up pretty good in the Ferris game. So we lost players, and these kids, and I talked to you about this last year, that was an issue after our 6-0 start. We lost guys. And now all of a sudden we step in and we recruit guys, and the talent is stepping in and the depth is stepping up, and this young man stepped up. And this is what we needed going into the season. He had a great game the week before, at a different position. And all of a sudden now he steps into a position that he was a backup at, and he started, and he was our MVP of the day.
Get something to eat here. Uccello's at Caledonia right now, and we'll get Jalen Robinson here. Don't forget, Davenport is home this Saturday against Michigan Tech. 12 noon kickoff at the Farmers Insurance Athletic Complex. 12 noon. Get your tickets, dupanthers.com. We had terrific crowds the previous 2 home games. Let's see if we can keep it. College from high school. What was the hardest adjustment you made from high school to college as a player?
I would say the speed of the game. Also, like playing against grown men, it's very different playing against like 18-year-olds every day, and then you see the 25-year-olds, the 22.
They got about 50, 60 pounds on
you.
And they're experienced as well. All right, let's talk about your high school coach. And what he taught you as a player and as a person.
Coach Carter, he's a legendary coach in Michigan. Multiple state championships in his career. He taught me how to conduct myself on the field and off the field. He's not just a football coach; he's a mentor.
Great. And you're right. He is one of the top coaches in this state, and he has a great career there as well. All right, we go back to last year, your first year on the field, where, again, you played in 10 games with the Panthers in that, had a pair of tackles, and finished with 7 tackles on the season. Then you made the big jump this year. I mean, you've gone from a contributing player to now you're a major player. In fact, you had to step in and start last week, and you certainly did that flawlessly. Tell us about how you're viewing your play and confidence-wise from where you were maybe last year, your first year.
Well, coming into the season, I just wanted to get on the field. More than last, I wanted to take the next step, and we had a couple things go down this year, and I ended up being in the starting lineup in the Michigan Tech game, and I feel like I really belonged on the field then, and since I've been starting, I've been wanting to take the next step every game. I've been putting in more work every week, on the field and off the field, in the film room, in the weight room, and it's showing on the field.
Visiting with Jalen Robinson, the sophomore, who again has had double-digit tackles the last 2 games. Give me one area, Jalen, that you say I've got to get better at.
If I had to say an area I had to get better at, I would say covering probably.
Okay. On pass coverage?
Yeah.
Okay. You do like to come up and get some hits. I know that. You like that as well. Who's your best friend on the team? Tell us about that.
My best friends are probably my roommates, Marshall, Dennis, and Cody.
All right. Good. You guys have some fun back at your place?
Yeah.
All right. As well. Who's the best video game player? Who's the best Madden player? I know what you're going to say. Who's the best Madden player?
I would say it was me, but it's not. It's Dennis.
Most players always say it's me. It is Dennis.
It would be me, but Dennis, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but.
All right, you're a sport management major here at Davenport. Let's tell us about, I know you've still got 2.5 years to go here, but what are you thinking maybe about doing once you're done with your Davenport days?
I've been thinking a lot lately. I thought about coaching.
Would you like to go back maybe and coach on the east side where you're from, or do you want to stay? Would you go anywhere?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Definitely a possibility.
Coach high school maybe? Get a chance to get the guys or you're thinking maybe coaching at the college level?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got plenty of time to decide that.
Yeah, plenty of options too.
And believe me, as you know, you already talked about Coach Carter, his influence on you. You could be influencing another young man or two, that way as well. All right. Where does this team got to get better? Okay. You can see right now with a 3-2 record, 1-2 in league play. Boy, you go to Ashland and you take on a national-ranked team like that at their place, homecoming crowd, great crowd, and you go to toe-to-toe with them right to the end. What are those little steps you got to take to get over that edge to not competing with an Ashland to beating one?
As you can see, I feel like we played well enough to win the game. I feel like we have to get better at all three phases of the game, focus on the little details. As you see, we had, I believe it was 2 kicks blocked in the special teams game. I feel like we had to take those things more serious, and also be more disciplined. Like, we have to be more locked in every play. No plays off. Making sure we're communicating all over the field.
You're right. We had a PAT blocked and a field goal attempt blocked as well. All right. Well, Jalen Robinson, thanks so much. Did you get some of that Uccello's pizza?
Yeah, I got some.
Go get some more. Okay. Nice visiting with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Jalen Robinson, our sophomore starting defensive back, and boy, as we said, he's really coming on with that. Again, Davenport home this Saturday, 12 noon, Michigan Tech. Go to dupanthers.com, get your tickets, and you can also find out online how you can get your raffle tickets. If you go to dupanthers.com, go to the football page, and you can find out how you can get a raffle. Great chance to win some great money, but more importantly, you get a chance to support the Panther football program. That allows Coach McEwen to do some of the many things he does. You don't get to see it during the offseason. He takes the kids on special excursions that help them grow, not just from a football standpoint, but also from an important standpoint of how they are as a person, how they are as a teammate as well. So go to dupanthers.com, go to the football page, look for the raffle tickets, and you can buy them right online. No sweat. You can do it right from your home, your work, wherever. You can pick that up right now. Coach McEwen joins us right now, and we come back talk
He's
a little.
He's a great young man, isn't he?
He is. He's you can see he's starting to feel that confident, that swagger that you want, especially a guy in the defensive backfield.
Oh yeah. He doubles as a linebacker for us, and he comes from a great coach. Coach Carter.
Yes,
is awesome, and he's done a great job with him. And Mom and Dad has done an amazing job with him. And those are the kind of kids that we love having with us there at DU.
You mentioned Michigan Tech comes to our place this Saturday at 12 noon. Let's talk a little bit about the Huskies. Right now, they had a one right down to the wire, too, with their arch rival, Northern Michigan. The Miners' Cup, they call it up there, and it's a war up there between those two teams, and Tech came out on top 24-20.
For the 10th year in a row, can you believe it? They've won that.
And those games have usually been last possession so often, and yet Tech keeps pulling it out.
We actually counted. I think the last 5 games have been won by a total of maybe 12 points, somewhere in there. So, great game. This Michigan Tech team, right now it's the shock. I don't want to say the shock to the coaches. It's the shock to the individuals that don't know GLIAC football.
Right.
Okay. This team, coaches know how tough they are. They could have won the game against Grand Valley. Grand Valley ended up going ahead with 40 seconds left in the game, maybe 50, more so than what we were the year before against Grand Valley. They're extremely tough. They've beaten teams like Hillsdale, which went into the third round of the playoffs the year before. They beat them back-to-back years. This is a team that they played Saginaw Valley, which has a really good team this year. The score was, within a point or two in the fourth quarter. Okay, so we're very aware of who we're playing. They're the number 1 team in the country in sacking the quarterback. We have one tough ball game ahead of us.
Now you
on Saturday.
mentioned the sacks 2 weeks ago against Fair State. That was the main difference in the game. Besides not being able to run the football, but after they were just in your backfield consistently, made significant strides last week. But it's key, obviously, to do it and continue to do it.
Well, this is a much different team than Ashland, where Ashland, as advertised, was picked to be number 2, in our conference, and now you're going against a team that was voted by the coaches, not me, but by the collective coaches, for last in our conference, and all of a sudden they're leading the country in sacks. The coach up there, I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and what he's done with this his team. Scheme-wise, they are very, very difficult to game plan for. And, when I leave here tonight, I'm not done because we can't figure it out. We can't figure out what they're trying to do. And obviously, I shouldn't say trying to do, they're achieving these things because obviously, look at the statistics, and obviously they have a winning record. They're very difficult to get get your point on who are they.
We talked about DeAndre Ford and the prolific passing attack. Well, how about Michigan Tech's right there as quarterback Will Ark? He threw for 347. But their wide receiver, Jacob Wenslick, this guy was all-conference last year. He will probably be all-conference this year. He caught 9 balls for over 213 yards on Saturday. That's a heck of a season for some guys.
Well, we just talked about them on defense.
Yeah.
Their offense and that quarterback, you've been there the last couple years. This guy makes plays all over the field. His will and his determination to be successful and to win is what you love to see in your trigger man. And then the receiver, okay, they're going to get the ball to him. Okay, we know that. You can't stop them. You only hope to control them, to contain them. They're going to get theirs, okay?
So are you saying that a key then would be lack of broken tackles in your defensive backfield? If he makes a 5-6 yard catch, you got to hold him to 5-6. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it starts with the quarterback. Okay. You've got to get a number of ball players to corral him to get him down. Okay, if you don't get him down, you better hope that you can get his receiver down. So our fans are going to be treated to one great football game on Saturday. The weather looks like it's going to be awesome. And,
right now, 62 and partially sunny, and
and our guys are chomping at the bit to get going again because obviously we've just posted our second loss to two outstanding the team that was voted to win the GLIAC and the team that was voted to be number 2. Our guys, right now, they know we got to get back on the horse and we got to get after it. And they know the opponent that we're playing is not going to let up.
Coaches often tell me that, when a team plays well, and you did, as you said, you did play really well Saturday. Could you tell during the week in practice that you were going to play well, or was it one of those that you just see how it plays out?
Well, after the Fair State game, and I told you we learned a very valuable lesson that, in order to get to the level of the Fair States, the Grand Valleys, the Ashlands, the Saginaw Valleys, that there's some things that we must take care of at home. Okay, there's some things, we had a, look in the mirror moment. Okay, and to my team's credit, and that's why I said I was proud of them. They responded extremely well in the Ashland ball game. Now let's see if this carries over because we're facing a ball club that right now is doing one heck of a job in executing and causing issues for the opposition. So this is a different kind of challenge, for us. And so, Rick, I look at my team and I focus on us. We don't try to worry about the opponent. And this is a process. And I'm trying to build something here that's consistent and that what you're going to get from Davenport week in and week out.
Well, these two teams played maybe the most memorable game of the season last year up in Houghton when Davenport scored the game-winning touchdown in the less than 30 seconds to go on a TD pass there. Dramatic win. And who knows, Coach, it could come down to the wire again.
Well,
You don't want it to, but it could.
You've called every game.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say, Rick, is you've seen us win and lose in just about every way that you can win and lose a ball game in such an early fashion. And my guys know I give credit where it's due. And when we're bad, we're bad. We're just awful. I'll let those guys know as well. But our boys are playing hard, but our boys are also finding out that it's hard. It's hard to win in this conference. It's so hard. You could never take a breather. Everyone's good, and everyone poses a different threat on how, you're going to have to beat them.
How about I give you a philosophical question, not even pertaining to this year's team, just your coaching philosophy in general, Sparky. And that is, you hear there's two trains of thought. You hear the thing about maybe a team hasn't prepared well going into a game. They don't, and they come out flat in the first half, and the coach reads the riot act and inspires them. But more likely is that if that happens, the team doesn't play well in the second half. Do you believe a team that comes out flat in the first half, how difficult is it to turn that team around if they haven't practiced and prepared well?
Well, it's a great question, and that's the point that I was making to you in regards to consistency. If you live, breathe, and do things the right way, okay, those things take care of itself. If you practice hard, you get your butt to class, you take care of business, you're in the weight room, you're at study table, you're doing things and you're watching film, those things take care of itself. I don't get into coach talk and say, hey, go win one for the Gipper. There's times that I go in there with my players and, there's no motivational speech on my end. And then there's times I go in there and, I'm upset. And I tell them exactly how I feel about things. But at the end of the day, it's my job and collectively as a staff's job to make sure our kids are prepared to play. And if our kids aren't prepared to play, that's our fault. And if our guys aren't doing things the right way, I got to go find a new group of guys and get guys to come in there and do things that we're asking. So consistency takes care of all the questions that you have when it comes to, what happens at halftime, playing flat, no, I don't get into that. I'm more into philosophy of how you coach them up.
One final thing, and the folks at home watching or wherever you are tuning us in, you may not think it's a big thing, but Coach talks a lot in his whole staff about doing things the right way in every way possible. And it was tweeted out after the game, after the Panthers lost a heartbreaking game, which they played their hearts out on the road at Ashland. They tweeted out the pictures of the locker room, or your visiting locker room, and it was completely spotless. Your guys, after losing that tough game, still had the wherewithal to get it together, saying, we're going to do this right. We're going to leave a locker room spotless. And I saw the pictures, and it was. And folks, believe me, that doesn't happen everywhere. And it's very impressive on you and your staff.
Well, thank you. And there was someone that when I sent out that tweet, there was someone that inquired about, well, does this happen in locker rooms? What's wrong? Aren't locker rooms supposed to be clean? Well, when it's a tough battle, it's hard to keep a locker room clean when you win. Okay, and we won up in Northern Michigan and we took care of the locker room. My guys understand. These are things that we talk about, doing things the right way, and all of a sudden, we finished up the ball game, and it was and you were there, it was a very emotional loss. And sometimes guys and as kids, these are students, okay? They could just walk out here and forget about their duties, to themselves and their character. But we went down there and we always take a peek, and sure enough, that lets me know that my coaches and the words that we're, the message that we're delivering to these young people, that it's coming clear.
All right, Spark, we'll see if we can get them Saturday. Michigan Tech again, 12 noon at the Farmers Insurance Athletic Complex. Go to dupanthers.com, get your tickets, find out about the shuttle so you can avoid the traffic and get easy free shuttles to and from the game this Saturday at 12 noon. That'll wrap it up for this edition of the Davenport Football Coaches Show from Uccellos in Caledonia. Sparky and I and a special guest will be right back here next Tuesday. So for Sparky McEwen, this is Rick Berkey saying thanks for joining us, and go Panthers.